Hello, good evening. How are you? It's another Friday, and just like I used to say, Fridays are a very wonderful time for me because it gives me opportunity to reset, reconnect, and reignite. It's time for me to rest, make plans so that whenever I'm walking into the new week with shoulders high and my head held high. So this is your favorite school psychologist, Nwaebiem-Your. I believe in raising teachers who are conscious, teachers who are effective in the business of teaching and learning. Last week we talked about emotional intelligence in the classroom, and it was a very awesome time. And even throughout this week, the tasks and everything. I think one of the sections that we've done so far that stood out to me and still keeps ringing in my mind is the mindful money. Seriously, nowadays I wake up, I lie on my bed thinking, what am I going to give into this day and what is it going to bring to me? It helps me a lot and it has been helping me. So let's go in. This week, we'll be talking about building patience and mindful teaching. That will be our topic for next week. We'll be trashing it out, doing our exercises. If you've not started this journey, you are missing out. You are missing out a lot. So, what is patience in the classroom context? What is mindful teaching? See, we are well into the term. While some are already observing their midterm holiday, others are taking midterm tests and preparing to go on holiday. And in the middle of the term, you find out that, oh, this is time for me to meet up with the meet up with my scheme. I need to cover, I need to do this and do that classroom work, recording, the marking and grading and everything. So sometimes it challenges us. It becomes a challenge to build uh, build relationship. See, learning cannot take place in an atmosphere where there is no connection. No, learning only takes place when there is connection. And when we are encumbered with all these things, we find it difficult to be patient with our students. I've seen teachers that at a point, okay, this we are doing our correction and time is no longer on our side. They face the board and they write everything down. That is not a good teaching strategy. That is not it. But this is what we do most of the times because we feel time is no longer on our side and things like that. So it also affects our composure. You because it's the middle of the term, so many things are going wrong. You don't show up in a way you should as a teacher. Don't carry yourself, you are stressed out already. Please, if you are like that, I recommend you start from our reset webinar, our teachers resumption talk. It will help you because you are not supposed to be down at this moment. This is a critical time where people are losing it. You're supposed to have your head level. So, what is patience in the classroom context? I said that it is not just waiting. Patience is not just waiting without frustration. It is our ability to remain calm, thoughtful, and emotionally regulate in the face of delay, difficulty, or challenge. For those of us that teach special children, I deal with special children at least 3 times in a week. You find out that you have to wear patience like a garment. You have to be calm because the moment they sense you are becoming agitated, it affects them also. So you have to be calm, you have to be thoughtful, empathy. You have to ask yourself how you have to consider how they are feeling, how, not as if you are not agitated too, but you have to consider their challenges, consider ways to make learning easier for them. Then you have to be emotionally regulate, because if you don't, it affects them as well. So if teaching and learning must go on in an emotionally conducive atmosphere, patience must be involved. You must be patient. Sometimes you see the children in your class, they all don't learn at the same pace. They don't learn at the same pace. So what I notice most teachers do is that they go with the fast learners, leaving the slow learners behind. And it's not looking as if the slow learners are not intelligent. No. And another way is that most of the times we utilize one form of a teaching strategy or teaching aid. You because and you forget that there are children in your class with different who learn in different ways. If you are patient enough, these are the things you are going to observe in your class. So you ask yourself, okay, I have 20 learners. How do each and every one of them? It will help you. It helps you to plan. Helps you to be proactive. By now, you are supposed to know, okay, this is how this person learns. This is how, and be able to integrate all of them to help those each and every one of them. That is if you are interested in being effective. And of course, we encourage being an effective teacher. So our patience in the classroom setting talks about our capacity to tolerate the natural pace of learning of students, our learners, their natural pace of learning. Like I said, they don't learn at the same pace. So tolerate each and every one of them. I was speaking to a particular teacher, that should be last 2 weeks. I told her, for this particular learner you are complaining of, first of all, observe why he or she is like that. Second, try as much as possible to tolerate that child. Try as much as possible to make exceptions for him, because if you notice that he is the youngest in class and developmentally he's not ready, but the parents are insisting and there is nothing you can do about it, so make exceptions for him in some areas. I've done that for a particular student in my class. I noticed that whenever I'm in class, her attention seems, yeah, she gives me one kind of behavior, and this is an SS class. So one certain time I asked her, how old are you? I had to ask. She said she's 11 years. Imagine an 11 years old child in SS1. I told her I was still at 13. I was in SS1. So imagine what is happening to that particular child. Imagine how that child is feeling. So after that particular day, I made this thing for her. I had to make exceptions for her in some areas, and I had to find out what other students, their ages, so I know how to handle each and every one of them, because they will act their age. So tolerate their natural learning pace. And when I did that for her, up to today, she's in science class now. Up to today, she's still very grateful. She sees me on the road, anywhere she comes to greet me. That is it. Relationship formed, relationship connection formed. So if I am now teaching her anything, she's in a better position to learn. So that is what patience does for you. That's what mindful teaching does for you. It also includes managing distractions and setback in class without being reactive. Yes. Like I was saying last week during the emotional intelligence class, I was that teacher that flips at anything, flips at any little indiscipline and the rest. But when I started this journey on emotional intelligence, it helped me to manage disruptions. So they the children are messing up, doing one or two things that are not appropriate. I'm not now reacting to them, I'm not now being harsh on them. I'm in better position to calmly address them, and if need be, offer consequences for their action without being harsh. I said last week we had a series of cleansing. That's what I would call it in school. We were addressing a particular behavior that the SS3 students were exhibiting, and consequences came. And it wasn't so nice. The consequences weren't so beautiful because some of them have to be suspended for some time. But the way it came, it didn't come as a form of judgment. We weren't being judgmental about it. So they were better able to accept it, and they promised to check to turn a new leaf. So we're expecting them back next week. Next After the midterm, we're expecting them back. And in that situation, they're able to reflect and consider their behavior. So I am positive that there will be change. So you manage disruptions, manage setbacks. Maybe you've not been able to meet up some places. You're not being reactive, you're not being stressed about it. So these are what patience and what mindfulness in teaching will teach you. It also involves allowing students to take risks and make mistakes. Most of us, we find it, I don't know, we find it kind of very difficult to accept the fact that our students, our learners will make mistakes. Yes, their brain is still developing. Their brain is still developing. I mean, they are teenagers. They are trying to find. They are trying to find identity. This is the identity cohesion period for them. So, in order to find identity, when you are doing trial and error, you will make mistakes somewhere. Sometimes their behavior are not out of spite, or they are not just trying to be rebellious or things like that. They are talking, they are trying to communicate something. So if you are patient enough, you listen to them, you listen to them, you are able to identify where that particular behavior is coming from, then you'll be better able to tackle it. Patience, very important. So I said that patience is closely tied to emotional regulation and tolerance for frustration. These skills you develop it through what? Through self-awareness, you develop it through reflection, and you develop it through intentional practices. See, if you have not joined us on this journey, please do that, because this is what we've been trying to achieve, to equip you with those mental skills to stay to better handle your learners and make you an effective teacher, make you a high flying teacher, make you that teacher that students are safe with, learners are safe with, and can learn. Teacher that makes learning experiences worth it for their students. So what then is mindful teaching? Mindful teaching simply means bringing intentionality into how you deliver your lessons and how you conduct yourself. Bringing intentionality into how you deliver your lessons. See, there is no anyhowness in this. If you do anyhow, you will see anyhow result. So in teaching, if you are really that teacher that wants to see see results, be effective, you shouldn't be doing teaching anyhow. You should be a teacher who is mindful. You should inculcate mindful teaching. So bringing in delivering your lesson, you are not doing it anyhow. See, at some point, I had to play music. I had to use this. We have to watch documentaries, things like that. Employ technology, employ different forms of teaching aid, do body movement, and the rest. We dance in our classes. We just so that we can deliver our lessons in a way that not only am I involved, but the learners as well are involved. I watched a very beautiful clips of this particular teacher. She was teaching home accidents to her, I think, early years. It was an early years class, and with the way she was dancing, you can see that she was enjoying herself. And Children are also enjoying herself. So why won't learning happen in that environment? She even went as far as providing some instructional materials. See, you should be a mindful teacher. Yes. And again, it is also about how we conduct ourselves in the classroom. See, you are a model. The children are looking at you. I remember a particular child, a particular student. She came to me last week and was like, "Teacher, I love how you dress, and I would want to redress it like you." That was it. You don't know the level of impact you have on these words, the way you comport yourself, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you attend to their needs. Every moment in the classroom is a teaching and learning moment. So whether you are talking to them, whether you are on your own, whatever you are doing, just know that these children are learning from you. I remember a particular funny experience I had in my JSS1. We had this teacher who was pregnant, and because of that, she normally have spittle in her mouth. So while she's teaching, she gathers spittles in her mouth, and she will go out once a while to spit it out. But at the end of the day, I found out that I myself and others learners started talking with spittles in our mouth. You don't know the level of impact and influence you have upon your learners until they start doing some things that you are the one that taught them. So let's continue. So being mindful in teaching involves one being aware. Yes, you cannot be mindful in your teaching. You see, some one thing mindfulness does for you is that it makes you purposeful in delivering lessons, in how you ah I consider my wardrobe. I consider I consider my mood, my countenance when I'm entering my classes. So it helps you deliver purposefully, being purposeful about your interaction with your learners. You don't just say anything, you don't just talk anyhow, things like that. When I came, when I started teaching a particular, excuse me, when I started teaching a particular class newly, I noticed that they shout down on each other. Things like, what are you even saying? Come on, sit down. Hey, this one, you are talking too much. Things like that. And I was intentional about changing that particular attitude. And I did it. How did I do it? The way I respond to them, even when they are talking out of point. Perspective taking, see their own perspective, not shutting them down, things like that. It helps. So being aware of yourself, mindful teaching involves being aware of yourself, your feelings, your thoughts, and that of your learners. See, you are teaching humans, you are not teaching goats. Even goats, this thing is not entering. I'm not understanding. I think I had that episode last week. I was in class trying to deliver a particular lesson, and at a point, the atmosphere, I wasn't feeling their focus anymore. Some of them showed that they were not understanding the concept. I had to pause and ask them, do you understand this? Where are you lost? Things like that. And by the time I got their feedback, I had to re-strategize, break down the end of the day, everybody understood and we moved on. So, but you find out that if you are that type of teacher in the class, you're not obtainable, where we have subject teachers coming in and going out. Everybody wants to meet up to time. So you come in, you just run through your course content and you get out of the class. You've not actually done anything, especially for students who are slow learners and who require that much of a connection to understand. So it's also mindful teaching also involves non-judgmental approach. See, accept moments without labeling it as good or bad. Accept moments. That's why I said, sometimes when your learners are doing some things, it is not for you to jump on it immediately, take it personal immediately. Try and observe, try and find out. See, uh, I've been able to get some students who people, some teachers know as, how will I put it, the stubborn students. I've been able to get them to sit in my class, pay attention, listen, follow, answer question. Like, at first it wasn't easy. At first it wasn't easy. But I know I put in a lot of not being judgmental. I put in a lot of trying to understand, observe where that attitude is coming from, that behavior is coming from, and addressing without being non judgmental. At a point, one of the students were like, Auntie, are you ever angry? I said, I used to be angry, yes. But the way I approach it is quite different. So, again, mindful teaching involves compassion, being compassionate, responding with kindness to yourself and to your learners. See, there are times you will make mistakes. Yes, there was a particular day I had. I was rushing off. I've told this story here. I was rushing to my office, and I met a group of students. And out of impatience, I swatted them on their back. I swatted them on their back. And one of the learners were like, Auntie, I'm not among them. I was just passing. I wasn't among them. And you swatted me on my back. I had to apologize. I had to apologize. There are moments you will make mistake. Yes. You see, your learners are not looking for perfect human beings. They are not looking for perfection. What they are looking for is somebody who is human enough to admit that they made a mistake. Apologize for it. And remember, as you're doing it, you're also teaching them. That particular student, anywhere she sees me now, if I come to school and she sees me, she would like to carry my bag, set things up for me. It's like you see it. So mindful teaching is not about perfection or constantly being calm. Sometimes you will not be calm. Sometimes this is a journey. See, this is a journey. It's not the end point. It's a journey. So sometimes you are going to fail, you are going to lash out, you are going to flee, but being intentional in how you react after that particular moment is very important. I remember which day was it? I think last 2 weeks, I lashed out on one of my students. He apologized, but I also saw a need to do what to apologize for lashing out on him. It shows him that he's a human. It shows him that I respect him. Why won't he respect me? He will reciprocate it. So that is it for mindful teaching. So mindfulness, I want you to know that mindfulness supports patience. Yes, it makes us pause and think before we act. See, if you are someone who cannot pause, who cannot reflect, you might not achieve patience. You might not achieve mindfulness. So mindfulness helps us to pause, to reflect, and before we take a before we take or make decisions. Again, it helps us to notice our stress signs and that of our learners. It makes us to notice our stress signs and that of our learners. See, something happened some time ago. I had the first period. I was in class teaching. This student came, stood at the door. He was already breathing very hard. I ushered him into the class. He sat down, but I noticed he was not settled. Why? Because I am a mindful teacher. I noticed he was not settled. So I called out to him, Divine, yes, are you seems not to be settled. You are just coming to school. He said yes. I said, okay, I will give you 5 minutes. Can you go out? No, I wasn't by way of punishing. Please, can you just go out? Calm yourself down because I need you calm for this lesson. I'll just give you 5 minutes to do that. He did it, came into the class, and he was okay. So notice our stress signs, notice that of our learners, and handle them before they escalate. Last week, I was taking a particular child, an autistic child, in speech therapy. At a point, she started, she wanted to throw tantrum, she wanted to cry. I had to calm her down first. Pause. See, when your children, your learners are dysregulated, they can't learn. So try and pause first. Pause, calm them down, then get back to what you are doing. So it helps us to build empathy and a drive to see different perspectives. When you are calm, when you are patient enough, you are able to understand what your learner is trying to see. I've seen a particular, a mother was complaining to me about a particular teacher. He doesn't allow students to ask questions in class, and unfortunately, this is a math class. It's not. Why? Why? So we have to calm down, see different perspectives, see different perspective. It helps. Then mindfulness also helps you to enjoy your class. Like that teacher I talked about, she was obviously enjoying the class. Enjoy your teaching. Your student enjoys you. They are flowing with you. Again, it helps you to be purposeful in your lesson delivery. So, what are the strategies to build patience and mindful teaching? Number one is that you must cultivate personal mindfulness. Please go back to our section on mindful mornings and things like that. Go back to it, it will help you cultivate personal mindfulness. I told you, each day I wake up, the first thing is not to jump out of bed and start preparing for school. Even if I did it like that on my way to school, while I'm on transit, I have my list, my playlist. I listen to some songs, calm myself down, feel good about myself, talk to myself concerning the day. What am I expecting from this day? What am I going to give back to this day? How do I plan to show up for my students? All these things are mindfulness, ways to be mindful, to cultivate mindfulness. Reflect at the end of the day. Reflect, what did I do wrong, what did I do right, how am I going to make it right? See, it's weekend, is another time to be what, to reflect, be mindful. Very good. So another strategy is, when you are stressed, pause and engage your grounding techniques. We talked about there are different grounding techniques, your breathing exercises and things like that, your yoga and things like that. Pause first. It helps you to reset your nervous system and refocus your attention. Another strategy for building patience and mindfulness is to do a personal and class check-ins. You don't just enter the class and start teaching. Do check-ins, look at their faces, ask questions, and mean it, provide solutions. I remember entering this particular class, it was after their break period. I entered the class, and while I was doing my check-ins, hello Kabam, how are you? Hello this, how are you? How was the break? How is it? How do you feel? One of the students told me that he's not feeling fine. Okay, what is it? He said he can't talk in front of his classmates. Okay, don't worry. After the check-ins, I took him to my office. What is it? He explained a whole lot of things, and I sorted it. At the end of the day, teaching and learning went on, and he was able to flow. So ask these questions, and when you are sincere with it, your learners will give you feedbacks, and you work with it. And once they see that you work with it, they're able to trust you, and that's part of building connection. Again, so do your personal and class check-ins before classes. Then learn to reframe challenges as opportunities. See, I remember last week we were in a speech therapy. I was in a speech therapy section with a particular child, and at a point I noticed that no, this is not going to do it. Let's come from these other angle. As what if I had seen that this is, oh, this is a challenge. I'm not, how will I be able to do it? I can't do this thing. And I'm already, and immediately put a mental block, things like that. I will not be able to look for other strategies. And by the time we are done, he was responding fine. So whenever you see a challenge, see it as an opportunity. Ask yourself how else it helps you to re-strategize. Then again, the last one, but not the least, encourage emotional awareness for yourself and for your learners. Go back to our emotional awareness class. You will get what I mean. So, encourage emotional awareness, ability to understand, ability to understand your emotions, to uh, name your emotions, the name it and tame it things and things like that. It will help you to be patient. It will help you to inculcate mindful teaching. So that is it. For next week, we are diving in different tasks that will be involving. We're going to be engaging ourselves in, engaging our learners. Very important. Please don't ever don't leave out any one of them. This is a journey. At the end of next week, I want to hear things like, wow, this has helped me so much, this has helped me, these are areas where I didn't do well, these are things I plan to implement, these are places I want to change and things like that. And believe me, at the end of these 16 weeks, if you are following through, you will notice a change. Yes, in the way you approach teaching. Yes, you will notice a change. So that is all for today. I still remain your favorite school psychologist, Chinyere Nwaebiem. If you have not subscribed to this channel, you are doing yourself a great disservice, because here we are intentional about this teaching journey. So subscribe so that whenever we drop our videos, you'll be able to get your notification, and we deliver value. Yes, we do. Thank you so much. Have a very wonderful, a resetful weekend. Have a reconnectful weekend, and have a reigniteful weekend. See you next Friday. I love you.